All right, so here we have the Moondrop Chu. So these are brand new IEMs coming from our friends over at Moondrop, and these are coming in for only 20 bucks. So pretty wild. Now, these two blank spots right here are where the IEMs normally sit. I actually have them already pulled out. So I've got them kind of just chilling right here off to the side. But let's go ahead and pop it open. Let's see kind of what's in the box here. So when you open this up, that's where the IEMs are going to be sitting inside of this foam piece right here. So I'm going to pull this foam out. Now, inside the actual delivery package, they threw in this sort of bamboo bookmark right there with Chu and Moondrop's got a little waifu on there. I love it. I love it. I'm actually one of those old school people that, reads physical books. So having an additional bookmark lying around is always handy. So huge thank you to them for sending that out. Now inside here, you've also got a carrying case for the Moondrop Chu. So this is sort of like a little felt little pack that you can put the IEMs in. Nothing too wild. It's not as cool as the usual Moondrop cases, but considering the low price here, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. And then we got some usual like paperwork and stuff in there, but let's pop open this guy here. So here's our accessory box for the Chu. It's even got a little Chu branding on it right there. Let's crack that open. Inside here, you've got a full set of Moondrop's spring tips. Now the full set here, like I've got two of them already on the IEMs themselves. There's two additional sizes here. These tips by themselves run you right around $12 to $15. So the fact that these are included in the box with the Moondrop Chus, the value is just insane here. And then on top of that, there's one more thing left in the box here. And these are some ear hooks that you can add to the IEMs themselves to help you kind of train those wires. So something to see there, but yeah, you've got them there. So now let me get all of this stuff out of the way, but that's it as far as kind of this lightweight unboxing goes. So let's get that all out of here. All right, and now let's talk about the Moondrop Chu. So here they are themselves. So the actual Moondrop Chus and the paint on them. Hold on, let's punch in a little bit tighter here. Let's get in there. All right. The paint job itself, it's got that golden black look. So if it looks familiar to you, it's going to be because it's very similar to what we got with the Moondrop Aria, which I also happen to have pulled out for this kind of live review. So as you can see, maybe the Moondrop Aria come in a little more silvery, like a little more pale than sort of the more yellow gold here on this one. But you can see that's kind of maybe that's like a theme that they're going for here, but pretty sleek if you ask me. It kind of gives them a premium look and feel. I've always heard rumors about Moondrop having paint chipping and issues like that. I haven't experienced that with any of mine. I've got a bunch of Moondrops. I've got the KXXX, which are fully matte black, the Moondrop Starfields, which are blue, like a candy blue paint job, Kato, that's just a polished silver. So, but yeah, so far I haven't had any issues with mine so far. But let's first and foremost, the build. So let's address the elephant in the room here with the Moondrop Chu, and that's the fact that these do not have a detachable cable. So these cables are permanently attached. So, it's kind of different, when you talk about like the Arias, the Starfields, the KXXX, all of their higher end, like, 79 and up, all have detachable cables. Actually, not completely correct there, because if I remember correctly, the SSR and the SSP also have detachable cables. Those are right around 40-ish bucks, but I digress. But just like the Moondrop Quarks, and I believe the Starship, they don't have the detachable cables on them. So just throwing that out there. Aside from that, the build quality here seems fine. The Chu are using, I would say that this gives them like a premium look, aside from that. But the cable itself is just not, I don't know, man. This cable tends to be pretty kinked. Like I've tried straightening it out for a couple of days and it just kind of is still holding on to its bends. So not a huge fan of the cable, but considering the price tag, I think I can go ahead and forgive that. It's not a crazy wild thing. And then next, let's talk a little bit about the comfort. So these are very small IEMs, as you can see here. They're not big whatsoever. Like we can put them side by side with an Aria here, just so you can kind of get an idea of a size comparison here. These things are small, man. So they're not big. They're very comfortable for me. I haven't had any issues with like fatigue or anything like that. The cable itself, the way it comes out, it just goes like this, loops over your ear. So, it's not a big deal. You do got to train them a little bit to get that kind of loop to sort of get accustomed to being bent this way, but then there's no issues whatsoever. But that's probably why they include those ear hooks in the box. But so far it's been fine. So yeah. And then aside from that, before we get into the sound, so we'll talk about the sound quality because that's, obviously what we're here to talk about. Before we get into the sound quality, here's the gear that I used in order to test. So first up, for the desktop, I was using the HiFi Zendak V2 with locally stored FLAC files. On my iPad Pro, I was using the THX Onyx with Apple Music lossless. And then last but not least, when I was testing them with my Galaxy S22 Ultra, I was using a periodic audio Rhodium dongle DAC. Basically, it's like a better version of a USB-C dongle. With Koba's high-res files. So that's overall what I used for the actual testing of the Moondrop Chu. Now, if you are looking for frequency response graphs and measurements, I'm not that dude. So just throwing that out there, making that very, very apparent for you right up front. But I did leave a couple of links in the video description down below for my homies' Critical and Super Reviews measurements. So they both went ahead and measured them. They've got them up on their own individual websites. I left links to both of them. So feel free to check those out if you're into reading those graphs. Just throwing that out there for you all. So let's get into it. So the Moondrop Chus here, once again, like I said, small IEM. These guys are using a single 10 millimeter dynamic driver. So, and as far as tuning wise, they're always keeping to Moondrop's style of tuning. I believe they call it VDSF. But yeah, that's sort of where they're going. Now, these are definitely a neutral sounding IEM, but don't confuse neutral with boring because that is totally not the case. But let's go ahead and break that down. So first up, let's talk about the bass on the Moondrop Chu. So the bass is clean and controlled. So there's excellent kick for drums, but it's not bloated in any sense. There's no bleed into the mid-range or anything like that. So it's got a very tight sub-bass response. It hits quick and it gets out of there. So basically, like in other words, the Moondrop Chu are what's the best way to say it? They're not really for the bass head crew, so to speak. These are going to be more for the neutral gang out there, 100%. If you're down with that like neutral, brightish type sound, then these are definitely going to be like a breath of fresh air for you coming in at such a low price point. So, that said, listening to like West Coast hip hop tracks with like big bass, right? It's not as satisfying as it is with something like the Moondrop Aria or the Moondrop Kato, or even something like a Theaudio Legacy 3. It's not going to be that satisfying. But listening to live drums like by Tito Puente that I was listening to, or even blues from BB King, it's chef's kiss. It's so good. I just can't. It's tough for me to describe it. It's something you're going to have to try for yourself. Then moving over to the mid-range. The mid-range on the Moondrop Chu, the best way that I can describe it would be natural. That's like the best word that I can think of to give it a descriptive. It's not overly warm, but it's not thin either. It's well balanced. It comes in with excellent, I would say, excellent vocal clarity, in my opinion. For the mids, I was listening to Howlin' For You by the Black Keys, along with Me and Mr. Jones by Amy Winehouse, and it's nothing short of wonderful. So very, very good. I'm truly impressed with what we're getting here, as if you couldn't already tell, kind of gushing over it, right? And then moving over to the treble on the Moondrop Chu. So the treble comes in bright and crisp, and possibly too bright or sharp for some who are more treble sensitive. I'm good with the treble extension here. For me, it's not fatiguing. I'm not getting any of that sharpness, no pain, nothing like that in my testing so far. There's even an airiness to the sound with a surprising amount of soundstage and separation. Just bottom line, I've said it a bunch of times here that these are excellent for their price, but honestly, I think Critical said it best, that they're excellent, period. For the testing that I was doing with these, the songs I was listening to was Crazy by Patsy Cline. So kind of old school on the countryside if you're into that sort of stuff, but also Europa by Santana. Listening to those two with the Moondrop Chu is an excellent experience. I can't say that enough. Easily The Moondrop Chu, probably the best 20 bucks I've spent on like sound equipment in a long time. But if you made it this far into this review, what type of sound are you into? Like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer big bass, like V-shaped, or a neutral sound like the Moondrop Chu's here, or something that's more treble focused, really clinical type of sound? Maybe you're somewhere in between. Let me know down in the comment section. Now, if you're looking for a neutral yet fun set of IEMs, then the Moondrop Chu are an excellent starting point. Considering the low price, it's really a no-brainer. So maybe it's something you're looking for, maybe a different flavor of sound, or if you've never gotten into IEMs and you want to give one a try, this is the starting point right here. This is where you should begin because it's going to set the bar high for you moving forward. Now, if you're interested in checking these out, I did leave a link in the video description for my friends over at HiFi Gear. Now, they didn't send these over. I actually bought these myself with my own money for testing and for the review purposes. But if you want to check them out, hit the link down below. That way you can order one for yourself. They're available with a mic or without a mic. I got them without a mic for $20. I think they're $22 if you want to have a microphone on them. Entirely up to you which way you want to roll.